Coming up on 5 Minute News. US Congress closes in on $900 billion COVID aid bill as Friday deadline looms. Poor countries face long wait for virus vaccines. And Trump's Twitter account hacked by guessing password. It's Thursday, December 17. I'm Anthony Davis. US congressional negotiators on Wednesday were closing in on a $900 billion COVID-19 aid bill that will include $600 to $700 stimulus checks and extended unemployment benefits as Friday's deadline looms. Top members of the Democratic-controlled House of Representatives and Republican-controlled Senate sounded more positive than they have in months on a fresh response to a crisis that has killed more than 305,000 Americans and thrown millions out of work. Their aides were struggling on Wednesday to draft legislative language as rates of COVID-19 infections are soaring to new highs, even as the United States starts vaccinations. Negotiators were looking for a way to shift the approach to aiding hard-hit state and local governments, which has been a key Democratic priority, but opposed by Republicans. The measure, to be attached to a spending bill that must pass by Friday to avert a government shutdown, is not expected to include new protections for companies from lawsuits related to the pandemic, something high on the Republican agenda. Senator John Thune, the Senate's number 2 Republican, said the proposed direct payments to individuals would be around $600 to $700 per person. There have been no stimulus checks issued to individuals since the initial $1,200 payment in April. Democratic President-elect Joe Biden said the stimulus package was encouraging, but more aid would be needed. Commerce Department data showed retail sales fell unexpectedly sharply in November, with consumer outlays on goods and services showing softness across the board. The Federal Reserve on Wednesday promised to keep funneling cash into financial markets further into the future to fight the recession, whilst big businesses have been given financial support during the pandemic. Individuals have had to rely on unemployment, food banks, and local charities to stay afloat. With Americans, Britons and Canadians rolling up their sleeves to receive coronavirus vaccines, the route out of the pandemic now seems clear to many in the West, even if the rollout will take many months. But for poorer countries, the road will be far longer and rougher. The ambitious initiative known as COVAX, created to ensure the entire world has access to COVID-19 vaccines, has secured only a fraction of the 2 billion doses it hopes to buy over the next year, and has yet to confirm any actual deals to ship out vaccines, and is also short on cash. The virus that has killed more than 1.6 million people has exposed vast inequities between countries, as fragile health systems and smaller economies were often hit harder. COVAX was set up by the World Health Organization, Vaccines Alliance, GAVI, and CEPI, a global coalition to fight epidemics, to avoid the international stampede for vaccines that has accompanied past outbreaks and would reinforce those imbalances. But now, some experts say the chances that coronavirus shots will be shared fairly between rich nations and the rest are fading fast. With vaccine supplies currently limited, developed countries, some of which helped fund the research with taxpayer money, are under tremendous pressure to protect their own populations and are buying up all the shots. Meanwhile, some poorer countries that signed up to the initiative are looking for alternatives because of fears it won't deliver. It's simple math, said Arnaud Bernard, head of global health at the World Economic Forum. Of the approximately 12 billion doses the pharmaceutical industry is expected to produce next year, about 9 billion shots have already been reserved by rich countries. COVAX has not secured enough doses, and the way the situation may unfold is they'll probably get these doses fairly late. Even with vaccines in hand, the rollouts will take many months in rich countries, and many developing ones are facing serious logistical challenges that will add to delays. Senior officials at the WHO have acknowledged privately that attempts to fairly allocate vaccine through the initiative are flawed, despite publicly lauding its success. With no certainty about which shots would work, governments scrambled in recent months to sign multiple deals to ensure their citizens would have at least some COVID-19 injections. Canada, for example, bought nearly 200 million vaccines, enough to cover its population of 38 million, 5 times over. Dutch prosecutors have confirmed that Donald Trump's Twitter account was hacked in October, despite denials from Washington and the company, but said the ethical hacker would not face charges. The hacker, named as Victor Gervers, broke into Trump's account on the 16th of October by guessing the US president's password, Dutch media said. Both the White House and Twitter strenuously denied reports that the account had been hacked. Gervers disclosed the hack immediately, saying the password he guessed was MAGA 2020, referring to the Trump slogan, "Make America Great Again." The public prosecutor's office said, "We believe the hacker has actually penetrated Trump's Twitter account, but has met the criteria that have been developed in case law to go free as an ethical hacker." It added that hacking was a criminal offence in the Netherlands, but it said special circumstances, also referred to in practice as responsible disclosure, could stop prosecutors from taking steps. When news of the hack first broke, Gervers said that the ease with which he accessed Trump's account suggested the president was not using basic security measures, like two-step verification. "I expected to be blocked after 4 failed attempts, or at least I would be asked to provide additional information," he said. Gervers told a Dutch newspaper that he attempted to alert US authorities and was eventually contacted by the Secret Service, who thanked him for bringing the security breach to their attention. It was not the first time Gervers had gained access to the president's Twitter account. In 2016, he and 2 others guessed Trump's password, which at the time was "You're fired," the catchphrase from the reality TV show The Apprentice. You can subscribe to 5-Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5-Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5-Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.